Hello, I'm EnterElysium, and I want to do a vlog to talk about some gaming news and maybe just mention a couple of things about the channel. Firstly, I'm sorry I haven't put out a lot of content in the last 2 weeks. There's been a little bit of a lull. It's because I've been doing a lot of stuff like thinking about should I get a kitten? Should I dye my hair red? Network stuff. So I might have some news for you on that soon, but let's just dive right into actually what I want to talk about today. Firstly, Steam reviews. Now, a lot of you probably noticed that Steam now has reviews, so you can make a review of a game that you liked. You can talk about it. You can say yay or nay. You can write a review of a game you didn't like. And it'll say, oh, you've played this much, 86 hours of this game, and this is your review. And this is meant to be a great way of, getting consumer feedback, so you can check what other people write about a game, blah, blah, blah. Here's some fun stuff, though. Train Simulator 2014. You can see that it's got reviews. Let's go down to the reviews. Here we go. 170 of 191 people, 89%, found this review helpful. It has been marked as off-topic by the developer. Off-topic? Toffee? Anyway, off-topic. Whilst I personally don't forgive many of the mistakes in the game, I'm recommending it to other people because developers get real. Sure, a lot of the work is probably blah, 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 blah. He has put just under 100 hours into the game. 83% of people found this review helpful. He has put 161 hours into the game. 86% of people. He has put 81.8 hours into this game. And the developers have marked them as off-topic. There is no way that these are off-topic. It's very expensive, old DLC has bugs, and issues developers will not fix, and support is not great. It may not be valid because, it may be the person's opinion just because, blah, 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 this, that, the other, they had a bad experience, whatever. But this guy's played 161 hours. He's obviously got an opinion that, probably counts. It's not off topic. You may disagree with a review, but you can't just say it's off topic. Look, this guy's put not recommend. Oh, this guy hasn't been flagged as off topic yet. Just, give him a little while. It'll happen. So yeah, I'm not exactly sure why these 3 reviews were flagged as off topic. I'm not going to exactly say straight out that it's definitely censorship, but it seems mighty suspicious. So yeah, that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. The other thing I want to talk about, well, there's 2 other things I want to talk about. First of which is Riot, the company that owns League of Legends, LoL. Yeah, their new contract for pro players for their Season 4 says, oh, by the way, while the season's going on, you can't stream Dota, Hearthstone, World of Warcraft, and goes on to list many names. And yeah, you can't have anything to do, or you can't stream these. Also, by the way, drugs, alcohol, and tobacco, I believe. I'm not sure about alcohol. Tobacco is definitely one. It's well, smoking's bad for your health, yeah, sure, but if someone wants to smoke, why are you not in the contract? Oh no, okay, you're definitely competing against Dota because, you're both MOBAs. But why are you you're trying to deny Hearthstone because it's a Blizzard thing, and you don't want Blizzard. Riot seem to be being very controlling. And while, disallowing them from competing in other things and other competitor things like Dota, may be a sort of pro sport in the actual, sports sense, because, pro sport contracts tend to have some of these limiting things. In the gaming space, which is becoming pretty big, it just seems over-controlling. Incredibly over-controlling, especially since LoL is losing as a professional sport to Dota, because Dota had this summer the biggest pro gaming championship there has ever been, as far as I'm aware. And Dota completely blew all the figures and the prize money out of the water. So LoL will only get a very short-term boost from this, but in the long term, they're only going to hamstring themselves because people are just not going to accept this contract, I hope. Or I hope. Like, not allowing other people to stream all these many other games. It's ridiculous. Let's look at some of them. StarCraft, World of Tanks, World of Planes, Hearthstone, Dota, World of Warcraft. No, alcohol wasn't on the list, but guns were, so you can't be involved with any guns. What else is there? Realm of Titan, Smite, Warhammer Online, Awesome Noughts. Oh, and a load of online poker tournaments. Just... what they're doing is they're trying to make sure that the people who compete in LoL, because LoL's been around longer, so the people who are established in LoL can't compete in things like... or hopefully won't compete in Dota because they'll have less presence of Dota because they won't be streaming things like Dota and Hearthstone. Because they're concentrating on LoL because it's established. But the thing is, Dota has already made itself pretty established and already shown that it's bigger and getting bigger. So I don't know exactly what they're trying to do here because they're going to lose. So short term, people will sign the contract. Long term, people will get better offers from other places and then be like, actually, lol, we're leaving you, lol. Anyway, and the last thing I want to mention, very, very, very briefly, Battlefield 4. You know, that game that came out that was incredibly buggy when it came out because they didn't do much Q&A, and the netcode is still broken, apparently. They've just, you know, released the DLC, the China Rising DLC. And apparently that's broken and it's given people even more problems, like people just being randomly ejected from servers and so on. And EA's defense? China Rising was already in the final stages of development by the time issues began with Battlefield 4. So EA decided to fulfill our promise and deliver it this week. So basically, because there were issues, but you were working on China Rising DLC, and you went, oh, well, we're working on this DLC at the moment, so we're just going to ship this DLC, ignore the issues for now. Oh, whoops. We've also made more issues with the China Rising DLC. Now, this is a big problem with DLC, especially, you know, day one DLC and DLC that you're making before the game was shipped. Not just the fact that you could have just had the DLC in the game and you're cutting things out, but also you're focusing on DLC at the time that games need quality assurance so that they don't have bugs in them, and also when they're released you need to catch any bugs that slip through quality assurance, because, you know, there will be some. You can't catch everyone, you can get pretty damn good at it, but you can't catch every bug. So any bugs that get through, you need to then quash. Problem is, things like Skyrim were buggy when they came out. Things like Battlefield were buggy when they came out. And why were they having problems? Because the teams had moved on. They weren't doing Battlefield 4 anymore. They were doing China Rising DLC. So when the bugs came out, they went, oh, that's a shame. Our guys are busy making us more stuff to sell to get money from you for a broken game that's going to be broken. And by the way, the expansion's going to be broken. But you know what? Money! Please, for the love of God, fix games, quality assure games, send out games, fix the bugs you've missed, then DLC. I don't mind DLC as a thing. Expansions for things can be good. Take the expansions for Crusader Kings. There's some lovely game mechanics, extra nations to play as. All that stuff is really good. Maybe a little bit pricey, but the stuff itself is good DLC. And it doesn't subtract from the game when it was released. Okay? Simple. Making sure you have DLC ready for shortly after release is taking your focus away from the team that should be focusing on the release. No game that I know of is finished then sits around for a couple of months before it gets released, and the team go, oh, we've got time to spare, we'll work on this DLC that we've just decided to make. No, the game's been worked on up until the last minute in nearly all of these cases. If you've got spare time, people will make things to fill time. So for the love of God, fix your goddamn games, then make DLC! I've realised that as this vlog goes on, I get slightly more irate, mainly because it's not a complicated problem. It's really simple. The Riot contracts may be unfair, but, you know, people can sign them, people can't sign them. It's, you know, entirely people's choice. The Steam reviews thing may be stupid, but, you know, all it does is collapse. It doesn't hide the review entirely. It just makes it slightly hard to see. The problem with things like Battlefield 4, which is a AAA title, which could be a competitive game, it could be a competitive shooter, it could be the competitive shooter, which, you know, it isn't because it's broken, the netcode's too buggy. It's just, no. It's the reason I haven't picked up Battlefield 4 yet. Personally, it's because, A, it's full price, and, you know, full price games are expensive when you don't really have any money. But most importantly, it's broken. I'm never going to pay full whack for a game that's broken on release. Because I don't want to pay money for a game that's broken, for a start. And secondly, thirdly, I don't want to support companies that think that it's okay to send out a broken game and charge full whack for it. Because if the game is broken, it's not suitable for the use intended. Therefore, you can't sell it for that price. Because it basically counts as false advertising. You're advertising a game, it doesn't work as intended, it doesn't work as advertised. These should be simple things. You're fully aware when you ship it that it's broken, or you deliberately haven't done enough quality assurance testing. Or you're just plain stupid and ignorant, which you can't plead as a company that makes millions and millions and millions of dollars. Hello, EA! Also, by doing this, you're now having to focus on fixing Battlefield 4 and the China Rising DLC when you would have been making the bloody Battlefront game that DICE is meant to be making. You know, the Star Wars one that could be good. Please don't fuck that up. Anyway, I've been EnterElysium. Sorry this has been a bit long, but, you know, stuff happened. Yeah, I have a Facebook page that I'm actually starting to use now, asking people's opinions and stuff on that. Really cool. Go check that out. I have a Twitter. That's always the best place to find out if I've got videos going out because, you know, YouTube sucks. Oh, and there's also going to be changes to YouTube next month. Not, well, January. Well, that's next month. January at the earliest, which means that, you know, everyone who monetizes videos will have the videos delayed while YouTube check every video. Which means that any time I release a video, it will probably be about, you know, a week before you see it. It's a fucking brilliant idea. Because, you know, millions of videos, yeah, you're going to check all of them. I'm probably going to mention this at further length in another vlog. Because, frankly, it's so ridiculous, and I just want to make a heartfelt plea to YouTube that they will never hear. But it's just too long to put in this vlog. So, bye, I've been EnterElysium, and this has been another depressing day in the world of gaming. For a less depressing day in the world of gaming, please check out my other videos. Spoiler alert. Well, not spoiler alert. Shameless advertising alert. There we go. Anyway, stay shiny, everybody.